Shalom. If you are anything like me, then you're excited that Friday's here and that Shabbat has almost arrived. You know what else is almost here? Pesach, Passover. The holiday of Passover will begin in a matter of a few days, less than a week. And you know how I know that Passover is almost here? It's because this Shabbat is Shabbat Hagadol. That's the name given to the Shabbat that falls immediately before the holiday of Passover. So why is the Shabbat called Shabbat Hagadol, the Great Shabbat? Some say that the name refers to an ancient rabbinic custom that rabbis would use the Shabbat to give tremendous sermons on all the laws and regulations of Passover, of which there are a great many. And when I say tremendous, I'm referring to the quantity of material those sermons covered, not the quality. Gadol, which means large or huge or grand, could have described the sermon's content or simply the sermon's import, as it related to such a significant holiday. More likely, the name Shabbat HaGadol is taken from the word's appearance in the special haftarah designated for the Shabbat, a selection from the prophet Malachi. The haftarah ends with the announcement that God will send none other than that famous Seder guest, Elijah the prophet, as the herald of the Messianic age. I will send you the prophet Elijah, says God, before the great Hagadol and awesome day of the Lord. And what will be Elijah's task? He will reconcile parents with children and children with parents. The promise of ultimate redemption fits squarely with the festival of Passover, which celebrates the historical deliverance of the Jewish people from slavery in Egypt. So the idea of redemption connects this Shabbat to Passover. The appearance of Elijah links this Shabbat to Passover. The reference to parents and children in harmony with one another is a perfect prelude to Passover. For this is the holiday with a story to be told, and not once, not twice, not 3 times, but in fact 4 times, the Torah instructs parents to tell the story of the Exodus to their children. As an aside, that's why we have 4 types of children mentioned in the Haggadah. 4 commandments to instruct our children, explain the sages, can only mean that there are 4 kinds of children whom parents must be prepared to instruct. It goes without saying that this year, when the story of the Exodus is told, it will be not only the story which is remarkable, but the conditions under which we are telling it. Just as we have a significant story to tell, this Passover itself will be an historical event which will be recounted for many generations. We might even turn the tables on our children this year, and after they finish asking their 4 questions, we can ask them one grand question, a she'elah gedolah. When your children will ask you, what was it like to celebrate Passover, each person, each couple, each family in their own home, when a makah gedolah, a plague so vast, so large, so overwhelming, threatened the lives of people not in a single country, but the entire world? This will be the new story which we will tell, and that our children will tell their children, and that will be repeated again and again. None of us has ever experienced the Pesach like this, and with God's help, we never will again. This year, when we recount our ancestors leaving Egypt, we will not only recall what it means to become an independent people, but we will also be conscious of how interdependent we are, and how what happens in one part of the world can severely impact people across the globe. We are connected to each other in more ways than we could have ever imagined. We are interconnected with every other human being on this planet. The health and well-being of people in China, in Europe, wherever people live, can affect us. We know that all too well now. Our fates are intertwined. We cannot deny it. Numbers of people at our Seder tables this year will necessarily be smaller, but the story we will tell will be as large and as grand as ever. And this year it will be layered with meaning like no other Seder that most of us have experienced. As we tell the tale of people who were redeemed, let us pray for a world that will be redeemed, a world in which we not only recognize that we are, all of us, bound together, but that we must take responsibility for one another. We must learn from one another. We must share our stories of pain and trial, hope and liberation, justice and freedom. And then we must find a way to support one another and to care for each other in order that we can help to bring the moment of redemption ever closer. May this great Shabbat herald the day when each of us will aspire to be great in our words, in our deeds, and in our appreciation for all humankind. Shabbat Shalom.